Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend. So head on over to infinityflux.net right now. You can follow along, head over there, check out everything there is to offer, and get your pre-orders in so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness. Just remember, your pre-orders need to be in Sunday around 6 o'clock to make sure you don't miss out. But we've got a huge show today.
This is a big show.
It was very hard to trim it down to something that people would actually watch.
Today's show is a big one, and then next Monday, that's a huge show. Maybe one of our biggest of the year so far. There is so much stuff coming out right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, comics are now, we went through a few weeks where DC didn't have a whole lot, and Marvel had a little bit, and now it's like floodgates open.
Everybody's got stuff,
Everything's coming out.
For sure.
So let's get into it. Let us not tarry, because we have...
Whoops.
Boop, there we go. Comics to talk about. First up, our featured comics.
We're going to start with Avengers Assemble #1. This is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. It's written by Steve Orlando, and the art is by Corey Smith. And this is a return to the Avengers Mansion. And this sounds like the book that you and I have been talking about that we wanted for a while. So the deal with this is, after Blood Hunt, the Avengers Blood Hunt tie-in saw Steve Rogers putting together sort of a makeshift team, an impromptu team of Avengers with Hercules and Kate Bishop and Quicksilver and Hazmat. Well, he sort of kind of does that again, not with the same characters, but he forms what he calls the Avengers Emergency Response Squad. And the way they write it in the solicitation is it's Avenge, and then the ERS is the acronym.
Oh, cool.
Emergency Response Squad. And and it's all these characters on the cover here. They live and train in Avengers Mansion. And then when something pops up that needs the Avengers' attention, whoever is there at the time will deploy and go take care of that. And the first issue is going to be Captain America, Wasp, Photon, and Shang-Chi taking on the Red Skull's daughter when she finds a dangerous artifact. And I want to say, I'm pretty sure, or at least the way the solicitations made it sound, is that each one of these is going to be kind of like a one and done. Mm-hmm. With every issue, a certain group of characters go out, take care of a mission, and then they're done. And then the next issue, it's a different group doing a different mission. That's what we said we wanted. Like, it would be cool to just have a giant team of Avengers, and Captain America just sort of picks and chooses who needs. It reminds me of Mask in the 80s. I always bring it back to Mask, right? He, like, Matt Tracker always picked like the best operatives for the mission, and that kind of sounds like what this is.
Or Justice League Unlimited, the cartoon show, where every episode had like a unique pairing of characters.
That's probably a better example than mine.
More people know Mask.
But so this sounds really, really cool. And like I said, I think every issue is one and done. I'm not 100% sure on that though. But yeah, this should be really cool. I'm excited for this. So and in the solicitations and all when they announced it too, they did like a news release and everything. They said that it's like every issue is going to be really action-packed, big action, that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for this one. So this is our A cover right here. We have the Avengers jacket variants because I think they all wear jackets. So, welcome back, 90s. We're all wearing leather jackets again.
Night Thrasher's there, so why not?
Yeah, they're like, oh man, that looks so cool. We need to look like him.
We all need to look like 90s.
There is a Emilio Lazo cover. There is a Disco Dazzler variant. Which,
it would hurt really bad to get kicked with.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then there's a wraparound Marvel Studios variant, which slide over and what are you looking at?
I don't know. You have to just keep spinning it around.
I mean, I don't know if this is it doesn't say it's a connecting variant, so I don't know if there's going to be something else later.
I don't know. So wasn't the Avengers Mansion? Wasn't it like a bed and breakfast for a while? Like, I remember they mentioned in some book, they were like, what happened to the mansion? They're like, I think it's like a bed and breakfast or like a tourist place now. Maybe. But I'm really glad they're going back to it. That's like my favorite of the bases for the Avengers.
Yeah, maybe Tony bought it back from whoever owned it previous.
Okay, next up is one of the books I've been most looking forward to since it was announced. This is Plastic Man No More. This is a DC Black Label title, so it's not connected in the current continuity or anything. It's telling its own story. It's going to be a 4-issue miniseries written by Christopher Cantwell, and the art is by Alex Lenz. And this is super, super cool. So I already love Plastic Man. a very tragic character that kind of hides behind the humor,
Yeah.
but has a really sort of past with being a criminal, a kind of crook type character before turning hero.
He reminds me a lot of Booster Gold, the way Booster Gold is a big goofball, but underneath all of that, there's somebody there who wants to do good, and Plastic Man is that times 5.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this, as you can see, Plastic Man no more. In this, Plastic Man is on missions. He's part of the Justice League, and he's trying to deal with a little bit of his past, but he kind of hides it behind his Justice League, persona.
Yeah.
But something happens on one of his missions, and there is catastrophic damage done to his cells, and he finds that he may be running out of time as his body starts decomposing the way plastic does. And this kind of puts his life in perspective, and he decides he needs to make some wrongs right from his days of being a crook and to save the soul of his son, which back before New 52, all of that, Plastic Man had a son who had similar powers to Plastic Man, and I love that they're bringing this back. So this is going to be a kind of crime noir mixed with the body horror of how plastic decomposes, and that's going to be happening to Plastic Man. So this is going to be great. The artwork inside, this is Alex Lynn's doing the cover here. This is what your interior looks like. So it's still got that very like comic booky style to it, but with a pretty dark subject matter that I cannot wait to see. So this is our A cover. We also have a Mike Allred variant, which this is a character perfectly made for Mike Allred to work on. Yeah. And we also have a Chris Samney variant, which I love the old Plastic Man logo.
Yeah, that's great. Next is TMNT Mutant Nation #1. This is written by Tom Waltz and the art is by Vincenzo Federici. And this is part 1 of the Raphael adventure arc Attack on Area 51. So after the Armageddon game, Raphael sort of gets on his motorcycle, takes a solo trip out west to clear his head about everything. While he's doing that, there is a dormant enemy who wants revenge on the Turtles, and they engineer a dangerous detour to Area 51. And Raphael's quest is going to turn into a crisis as he fights to keep the EPF's cache of technology out of the wrong hands. Now, this also says there's going to be a 4-issue backup story featuring Casey Jones that follows the events of the untold destiny of the Foot Clan. And it says that each story arc in this book is going to feature 2 different stories exploring different corners of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe that are easily accessible for new readers. So this is still a jumping on point for everybody. But will also connect to the new ongoing series and the new Night Watchers series too. So this first, I guess, this is the first issue of the new Ninja Turtles book focused on Raphael. I guess is going to be that, but a little bit more. And it sounds like this takes place before that too.
Yeah, and this reminds me kind of back when they did the Mutanimals, when they started to explore the other mutants, not just the Turtles, and kind of expand that. And the main IDW run had a lot of really great characters they brought in, so maybe this will bring some of those back to kind of make the Ninja Turtles world even bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I believe this is an ongoing series. I don't know how long this story arc will run, but Raphael's my favorite, so I'm very excited for that for sure. So we have our A cover right here. We have a Federici variant. There's the Casey Jones story down in the corner there. There's a Santo Luco variant, and there's a 40th anniversary variant. I love that one. Like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, what is that?
And it looks like Raphael's going to be in Vegas, which just seems really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I love the setting.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the Night Watcher series comes out next week, and we'll be going over it on the Monday show. So that'll be our second part in the new Ninja Turtles era, whatever you want to call this era of it.
That's going to be great.
So next up, I've got Conan the Barbarian, Battle of the Black Stone #1. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries written by Jim Zub, who is your current Conan writer, and the art is by Jonas Sheriff. And this is really cool. So this was kind of teased. We got a little bit of it in the Free Comic Book Day Conan book. But Conan has been haunted by a symbol of an eye etched on a black stone that's kind of haunting his dreams. It keeps reoccurring in his life. And an evil looms over the Hyborian Age, but not just the Hyborian Age. it connects to many ages. So what does all that mean? Well, we saw in the Free Comic Book Day book that not only did Conan see this eye, this marking of an eye, but many other Robert E. Howard characters throughout time. So Solomon Kane, some of his detective stories, all of those people have witnessed this eye, and this seems like it's going to be maybe kind of a Conan multiversal, or not multiversal, but I believe they're all over the same time.
I was gonna say maybe
They're
more
the
like
same
a
universe, but different time
different times,
periods.
yeah.
And also the cover of issue 2 sees Conan fighting Solomon Kane. So I think that gives more credence to this idea of them all coming together. So I think this sounds really cool, especially if you're reading the ongoing Conan book. It's fantastic, and this just is going to continue. But this time, kind of its first event, more or less, even though it's really just contained in this one series. So we've got our A cover here. This is the Zafino cover, which I really like. We have a Ozgen, Oezgen. We have a Sager variant. We have a Didier variant. We have a Fleeks variant, which I love this one. This almost looks like a Conan Saturday Morning Adventures.
Yeah.
Like if he had his own cartoon show. And there is a color blank variant as well.
Next up is Hell's Half Acre #1. This is a new book from Magma Comics. I believe we talked about this one a while back and it had gotten pushed back a little bit, but here it is again. This is written by Denton J. Tipton and the artist by Jack Jadson. And it's described as a Western noir with a supernatural twist. It's set in Nashville in 1904. We're only a couple hours away from Nashville, so hits a little bit close to home. There is a place called Hell's Half Acre. It's kind of like a saloon, I guess. Maybe saloon isn't quite the right. Maybe saloons weren't around in 1900, but kind of like that. But it says that you can find anything there. You can find gambling and alcohol and debauchery and anything that you can dream of. And there is a gambler named Britt. He sets off a chain of events that will have lawmen and outlaws alike aiming to put him 6 feet under. But I don't know, I don't know what that is. I don't know what the supernatural piece is. But I'm excited to find out because I love supernatural stories, kind of set back then, still kind of Western supernatural, that kind of thing. So this is our A cover right here. We have a Risso variant, and there is a Ebenhuis variant.
Very cool. And Denton is the writer is from Tennessee as well.
He's nice.
From not too far from here, so
cool.
I like that he's writing in a familiar setting. I think he's from between here and Nashville.
Okay.
Next up, we have a new one from Jeff Lemire, written and drawn by Jeff Lemire. You can see his art here on the cover, called Minor Arcana. I'm really excited about this. That's my favorite Jeff Lemire is when he is doing everything himself, all the way back to Essex County, and Trillium was really interesting. He's done a lot of really interesting stuff just by himself.
It just left my head. The boy with the antlers.
Oh, Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
Sweet Tooth, of course, is a written and drawn Jeff Lemire book. So this is going to be great.
Should have just called that book The Boy with the Antlers.
The Boy with the Antlers, because that's how everyone refers to it.
You knew exactly what I was talking about when I said it, yeah.
So this tells the story of Teresa, who is returning home to take care of her ailing mother, who, at least to Teresa, is a fraud psychic. She kind of always had a weird relationship with her mother. Her mother being a kind of a small town psychic type thing. But as she's doing this, she starts to learn that maybe there was more to her mother's abilities than she originally thought. And does she have something of those abilities as well? And she finds herself trying to help the small town she's in. It's in very desperate ways, and she's going to try to help that as well. This is also an extra length first issue, and it says it's for fans of books like Lock and Key. So that's down my alley. I can't wait to check this one out. So we've got our A cover right here. We have a Tula Lotte variant. I don't know if you could get a more different art style than Jeff Lemire's.
Yeah, right.
We have a FOC Reveal Jenny Frizen variant. We have an Erica Slaughter variant by Jeff Lemire, which is really cool because they're doing it's like an anniversary of Something's Killing the
Oh,
Children.
that's right. Yeah.
So Boom is doing a lot of Erica Slaughter covers. And then there is going to be a foil version of the Frizzen cover as well.
Next up is Venom War Wolverine. This is the first of a 3-issue Venom War Wolverine tie-in series to the actual Venom War. This is written by Anthony Michael Fleeks and Tim Seeley, and the artist by Kev Walker. And it doesn't give us a whole lot of information about what Wolverine is going to be going through during this. It just says that the only thing more dangerous than Wolverine is Wolverine that has bonded with a zombiote. And I think it was last week we talked about the zombiote tie-in, like symbiotes that could reanimate the dead, basically. And zombiotes are spreading across New York, transforming everyone in their path into uncontrollable killing machines. And Logan's only hope to save lives is returning to a dark chapter from his past. Don't really know what that means or what that could be, but yeah. So if you're trying to get all the Venom War stuff, this is another tie-in. We have Venom War Spider-Man #1 coming next week. We had Venom War this week, so everything's starting to come out now. So we'll be talking more about this. This is our A cover, and there's a Joshua Cassara variant.
It's pretty cool design.
I guess maybe that's what he's gonna look like. I don't know.
I like it. Okay, next up we have a new indie book called The Autumn Kingdom. By Oni Press and written by Cullen Bunn with art by Christopher Mitten. Cullen Bunn, I think, has done some of his best works at Oni. Mm-hmm. He did so much. Six Gun. It's called Hellbreak was a great series. So many good things. So I'm glad to see him back over there. And in this, it is it says in the lands between imagination and reality, a family enters a labyrinthine descent through a perilous forest where the local folklore is anything but a myth. So it goes a little further into detail as a man takes his family to a cabin. He's an author and he wants to finish the book he's working on. It's a very idyllic forest. And of course, while he's there, the kids want to go and roam and check out the surrounding area. The kids stumble upon a clearing full of statues of goblins, elves, and dwarves, and in particular, a warrior queen missing her sword. Something follows them home from there and steals their parents, and it may be up to the girls to take up an ancient relic lost in the forest, just waiting to be taken for a new champion. I'm wondering if it's the missing sword from the warrior woman statue that they find in the underbrush and take this up. But I love the whimsical. This feels like a young adult novel. Books like Fablehaven or the Spiderwick Chronicles, something like that. I love the where reality meets the folklore, whimsy, fairy tale, and kids as the protagonists in that way of they're the ones who really can understand this kind of stuff. It all sounds just really, really cool, and it being done by Cullen Bunn, it's going to be fantastic. So we've got our A cover right here by your interior artist, Mitten. We have a Samson cover, and we have a Ward cover, and I guess that is your warrior woman statue missing her sword.
Yeah, in her hand too. It looks like.
Yeah, well, it comes with the package.
Next up is Absolute Power #3. Number 2 came out. Was it this week? Last week? I don't remember.
I lose all sense of when books come out when we read them early.
Right. So the next part of Absolute Power, super excited. I love this. In this one, after the events of Absolute Power #2, the Fortress of Solitude is in ruins, and the heroes who were there, they escaped to Themyscira, but they're going to have to form an alliance with the Amazons, or try to, because the Amazons on Themyscira don't really like external people coming in. And there is a mayday from Barry Allen. You looked through this already. I don't want to know, but you said there's some pretty cool stuff in it.
There's some pretty cool stuff. There's some stuff that Barry finds that maybe elaborates a little bit more on what Amanda Waller's bigger plan is. Okay. Maybe her long-term plan that you have to read to check out. But it's very, very cool, and some really cool characters pop up in this issue.
Yeah, so I've been loving almost everything Absolute Power so far. I can't wait for this. So this is our A cover. We have a Talavera variant. There's a Cohen variant, a Mike Deodato Jr. variant, and there's a Stephen Bliss variant. And, there's way more.
There's a lot of
these. Hold on, wait a second. So there's also a Mark Aspinall variant. There's a Mikkel Janin variant, and that's there was
some promo art, wasn't it?
Or there was I can't remember what issue it was where
Did Dreamer see that?
Somebody got a glimpse of the future, and it was this.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that was a panel.
Yeah.
There's a John Timms connecting variant because we've got several of those. Oh, yeah, that's kind of what happened.
I don't know how crystals are on fire, but
right.
you know it's bad.
There's a Trevor Hairsine variant. This is a raised UV foil variant, and their allocations may occur, so check with your shop about this one. And then there's a Mark Spears Power Participation variant.
That one's cool.
Yeah, that's your Task Force 7 right there.
Next up, I want to talk about Star Wars issue 50. So, Star Wars and Darth Vader are both wrapping up with their 50th issues. And we're going to start off talking about Star Wars 50. It's a giant size finale. When they say giant, this is a 50-page final issue. So that's really cool. And what I wanted to spotlight with this one, which I really like, and you can see on the cover down in the left corner, that's Ben Solo, because it's a really interesting angle they're taking this rather than wrapping up, the current stuff that's going on. This actually takes place in the future where Luke is the Jedi Master, and he teaches Ben Solo, who later becomes Kylo Ren, a powerful lesson about the true balance of light and dark, and his tale of the Rebel Alliance and, light and dark and all that touches on all eras of Star Wars history. So this sounds like a really cool culmination of everything. Plus, we have not got that much stuff post Return of the Jedi, especially with Luke and, your sequel trilogy era characters like Ben Solo. So this is going to be awesome, and I'm guessing it will probably hint towards things to come, since they already know what's coming up for the next run of Star Wars. So don't miss out on this one if you've been reading it, or you want to read a really cool, oversized one-shot issue.
Who's this guy?
That is, man guy.
We're talking about I was pointing at the guy over Luke's shoulder in the white cloak with what looks like goggles. I don't know who that is.
I don't know. It kind of looks like Conan had goggles like that for a little while, but we'll have to read to find out. I'm very excited about this issue. We've got our A cover right here. We also have our Phantom Menace Sprouse 25th anniversary cover. We have a Giuseppe Camuncoli connecting variant. This is going to connect with Vader 50, which is going to be really, really cool. We've got the action figure variant, which this is kind of your comic Luke. He's wearing his jacket, but with hints of his later costume. And we have a Steven Segovia variant with that mysterious character in the background.
Oh, is that the same guy?
That might be.
Oh, okay. It looks a little different. Oh, yeah, you're probably right, because what I thought were goggles, it looks like maybe that's just his eyes. Next up is Dark Empty Void #1. This is going to be a 5-issue series. This is written by Zach Kaplan, and the art is by Chris Sheehan. And in this one, scientists have created a stable black hole underground in a secret bunker kind of place, but they eventually lose control of it, and it starts to spew out all kinds of weird cosmic stuff, dangerous creatures, but also a teenage girl, like a teenage human girl. And they're going to have to try to solve the mystery of who is this girl, and can they get the black hole under control or close it down or something before it consumes the Earth. So cool new sci-fi book. This is our A cover by Chris Sheehan, so that's your interior artist right there. And there's a Christian Ward variant.
Well, we weren't kidding. There is more #1s, starting off with Trinity Special World's Finest #1. This is like the previous Trinity one-shot issue. This is actually collecting the backup story from Wonder Woman over the past few issues. So this is the latest one. So it's interesting. I wonder if this butts right up against the previous one where you can get all of the Trinity story by itself if you want to. But of course, this is by Tom King and Belen Ortega.
And every single one of these Trinity backup stories has been hilarious. They are wonderful. The artwork is great. It's so much fun seeing her with John and Damien just getting into madcap adventures. Every single one is hilarious.
This is really great too, because maybe you didn't start reading Wonder Woman when all this began, all that, but you're like, oh, I've been hearing great stuff about Trinity and those backup stories. You can just read this, and it's like you've got your own separate run of a series. So this is our A cover for that. There's also a Belen Ortega variant. It's your interior artist. And we also have a Sweeney Boo variant as well.
Next up is Lady Mechanika, The Devil in the Lake. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries written by Joe Benitez and M.M. Chen, and the art is by Sia Orn. And in this one, Lady Mechanika is trying to escape some disturbing revelations from her past by running off to Siberia on a, as one does. She's going on a dangerous hunt for an alleged dragon living in the depths of an ancient lake. So I think Lady Mechanica's cool, just like a cool like steampunk.
Yeah.
The artwork is always really cool. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight this one because we're getting another story arc with this cool character. This is our A cover by Joe Benitez, and there is a Sia Ohm variant. This is your
That's your interior artist.
Yeah, that's your. Maybe I must have misspelled her name.
It has a Y in the middle.
Yeah. So that's your interior artist right there.
I love her art. She did a book for I think it was Aspen called Lola XOXO or something like that. And she does all her own coloring, everything. A fantastic artist. So this is going to be really good. Next up, we have a new Red Sonja miniseries. This is Red Sonja Death and the Devil #1. I'm not sure how many issues this is going to be, but all these end up being, about 5 issues, more or less. This is by Luke Lieberman, and the art is by Alberto Locatelli. And in this, Red Sonja tries to bring peace to a land by finding a sultan's true heir after she may be the one responsible for killing the sultan. I'm not sure, but finding the true heir. But an assassin is also going after this kid, and that assassin seems to be undead, bloodless and undead. So this could be really, really cool. And if you're looking for a new Red Sonja book to jump onto, this is a great one for that. This is our A cover. We also have this Moritat variant. Moritat did a lot of covers for their previous run of Red Sonja, which are really nice. And there is a cosplay cover as well. Of course, there's a ton of other covers, so check FinityFlux.net to see more.
Next is Firefly, Malcolm Reynolds, Year 1, #1, and this is exactly what it sounds like. Written by Sam Humphries, and the artist by Giovanni Fabiano. And basically, it says that Malcolm Reynolds has always been a troublemaker, but what unexpected obstacles did he have to go through on his way to becoming the captain of the Serenity? So yeah, just, the early days of Malcolm Reynolds, if you're ever wondering what they were, here's a book about it. This is our A cover, and then there is a Vilches variant.
Next up, we got notable 2s and 3s continuations of series that you don't want to miss out on. Starting with Uncanny X-Men. We just got Uncanny X-Men #1 this week?
Yep,
this week. It was really good, of course, by Gail Simone. And this one, it seems to be expanding. The first issue was definitely very, single mission oriented.
Yeah, putting all the pieces in place, setting up different stories that most likely will converge at some point.
And this sounds like it's really going to get into what the main crux of this series is going to be, because it says, who are the outliers? We saw a little hint of them in the first issue. Rogue, Gambit, and Wolverine face uncontrollable and wild mutants in the Louisiana swamps. Plus, something huge is starting in this issue. So it sounds like this is where we're going to really see what's the first big story, because it says it begins right here.
Feels like issue 1 was almost like an issue 0.
Yeah.
And then this is issue 1.
Yeah, I had to get you in the starting point.
Yeah.
You had to learn where everybody is, how Wolverine and Gambit and Rogue are all together, all of that. So I'm really excited about this. All of the From the Ashes stuff have been great. This is our A cover for that. We also have a David Baldeon Godzilla variant, which, of course, a Rogue could just do a big old punch to Godzilla. We have a Luciano Vecchio Gambit variant. The last one had a Rogue.
Yeah, I like this series of covers. I can't wait to see what they might do for Wolverine, Nightcrawler.
And we also have, this is the second printing of #1. This is the Ryan Stegman cover, so if you missed out on getting the #1, you can grab this one.
Next up is Blood Hunters #2, and this is just continuing the madcap adventures of Elsa Bloodstone, White Widow, Hallows Eve, and Dagger. Now, Elsa Bloodstone, she gets into what we will call a heated discussion with the rest of her teammates over what to do about Miles, because in the first issue, she said, this is too much for one person to have, spider powers and vampire powers, and Elsa Bloodstone wants to just take him out, but the rest of her team doesn't, so they're going to get in fisticuffs over that. But they're also going to have to face off against the Blood Coven, which we saw them still lingering around in the first issue too. So what my question still is, the Avengers had trouble with the Blood Coven, and these ladies are no slouches, but the Avengers had trouble with the Blood Coven. We'll see how they fare.
If Thor ended up with a spike in his head,
right.
It's going to be hard for anybody.
So this is our A cover, and then we have a Jeff Shaw variant.
Ooh. That one's cool and very creepy. Next up, we have Star Wars Inquisitors number 3 of 4. Unfortunately, our store and a lot of stores did not get their shipments of this book in particular. So they're looking into it and everything, but we'll make sure every one of our customers gets it. But
wait, do you mean a different issue number 2?
Issue number 2 was supposed to come out this week, and we didn't get it.
Okay.
And apparently that's a kind of a widespread problem.
Okay.
But want to talk about issue number 3. In this one, Tensu Run, who is kind of our main Jedi that everyone's going after, commits himself to building a future for the Jedi. But Vader tasked the 7th and 9th sisters, who you see at the bottom, to draw Tensu out of hiding. So I miss reading number 2, but I'll read it before this one comes out and talk about it when it comes out. But this has been a really cool series, at least issue number 1. This is our A cover for that. And there's also a Carlo Paglion variant.
Next up is Spider-Man Reign 2, number 3. I believe number 2 came out this week, and it was pretty. There's some brutal stuff in it. Like Old Man Peter is pretty brutal, and in this one he continues to make some bad decisions on his quest to find Mary Jane. And Old Man Miles has come back to the past to chase after him and Kitty Cat, and they collide in this issue. Miles catches up to him, and they go at each other because it seems like in the future that they're from, maybe they're not the best of friends anymore. And yeah, they're just going to fight, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like Peter is maybe in the wrong in this one with how brutal he's become.
Yeah, Peter's been he was really brutal in the second issue, and yeah, he's not quite all there, really.
Yeah.
But Miles may not be 100% innocent either, so I don't know. But this is our A cover. There's a Phil Noto variant also.
Just a big old slap.
Yep. That could be like the missed opportunity to do the Batman slapping Robin cover.
Next up, we have issue number 2 of Pedestrian. The Pedestrian, the new book from Magma that came out this week. This was super fun, really weird, and raises a lot of questions about this world and all of that. So in the first one, the Pedestrian is this silent Samaritan doing good deeds, but also really following the rules to a point where it's kind of a hindrance to him as well. But in this one, Detective Sherwood is curious about who the Pedestrian is. We saw a hint in the first one that maybe this is not the first time the Pedestrian has appeared in the city, but also a dark force is rising in the city, and we introduce a new team called the Laser Titans. So it's just crazy stuff, but I can't wait to read more of this. It's super fun. So this is our A cover for that. And there's also a Malcom variant as well.
Next is Venom War Carnage number 2. We haven't gotten the first issue yet. I actually don't know when that comes out. No. The first one hasn't come out yet. And it's not coming out next week, I don't think. So in this one, Carnage takes on a new host and breaks into the K Project to discover the horrible applications of the symbiote-killing K chemical. And then he listens to K-pop. I don't know. And then he visits Kmart. I don't know. But so don't really know what all that means since we haven't gotten the first issue yet. But we will find out when that does come out. We have our A cover right here. And then we have our Joey Vasquez variant.
Next up, we have EC's Cruel Universe number 2 of 5. Number 1 came out this week. Really cool collection of sci-fi short stories. I feel like even with the sci-fi ones, they border on horror a lot of the time. There's some very uncomfortable, futuristic things in this, and I'm sure this is going to continue more.
Yeah, the third story in the first issue could absolutely have fit inside of a creep show or something like that.
So this one, not a whole lot of information about the short stories in it. They're, of course, going to be anthology style again, but we get story by Chris Cantwell, one by Stephanie Phillips, art by Riley Rossimo, and more. So, it's going to be a great time with this one. This is our A cover for that, and we have a Rossimo variant as well. Next up, we got cool covers, starting with...
We are starting with Captain America number 13. This is the Godzilla variant by Phil Noto. In this one, Captain America is trying to get his mutant change agents to the front door cabaret alive. That sounds fine. I would rather just see him fight Godzilla for an issue because that just looks
with his
like
motorcycle.
Yeah, what's he gonna do against Godzilla, right? Then we have, sorry, I'm trying to make notes. We've got Avengers of the Moon Knight #9. This is the Godzilla variant for that one. Now, this one, I went to make my notes on this. You look at the solicitation, and the solicitation only says classified in all caps. That's all it says is the word classified, exclamation mark. I don't know.
Either something big happens or someone missed a deadline.
Right, yeah, so more to come on this. Yeah, I have no idea what to tell you about this one other than it has this cool Godzilla variant. And then we have Venom #37, this Godzilla variant. Can you imagine a Venomized Godzilla? I don't know what Spider-Man and Miles think they're going to do. But this one, Old Man Dylan travels back to Spider-Man's earliest days to ensure that things go the way they're supposed to. I'm not really sure what that means. I think it's the A cover is an homage to the first appearance of Punisher, but it's called Old Man Dylan looking through the scope at Spider-Man. Yeah, so more Venom goodness that ties in with Venom War.
And next up we've got, no, this is not Avengers, this is Amazing Spider-Man #57, but of course they've been doing these really fun Disney homage covers at this time, that classic cover with Hawkeye and Ant-Man. And in this one, now that we're past the Goblin stuff, the Spider Goblin, we are on to this one, which sounds like it mostly focuses on Tombstone, as Tombstone is in prison, and kind of, I think that's going to be kind of the story that wraps up this run of Amazing Spider-Man.
And it says, what if Mickey and Donald teamed up as Avengers? You know, they're doing the what if Donald Duck, like, make this, Marvel, make this comic.
They don't all need to be Donald Duck. I would love to see, because Mickey Hawkeye
was already there.
Wolverine,
yeah.
So. And we also have, this is one of the Marvel Studios variants. It's a cool cover.
Yeah. This is Fantastic Four #25. Now, this is an extra large, spectacular issue, and this one sounds really cool. The Fantastic Four wind up on an alien world that is hundreds of years behind where we are now in terms of technology and civilization, and they have to really work to try to figure out a way back to Earth. But that is going to be easier said than done when Johnny hooks up with one of the aliens on the planet, which is really funny. And it does say something about the the true like meaning behind the world, like the secret behind the world is going to be revealed or something. And I wonder if that has something to do. So we have this really nice Greg Capullo cover here. There's also a Godzilla variant for them as well, which that...
I mean, Galactus fighting Godzilla is the coolest thing
Make
ever.
that happen. And then there's a spoiler variant. I have no idea what this could be. They haven't even really been hinting at anything in the books.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it has something to do with the planet they go to. I don't know what to tell you, but we'll know when it comes out.
And next up, we've got Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider #5. This is the first story, the first 5 issues. This is the finale of that one, with the kind of the chameleon story they've been going through. But want to show this really cool Inyuk Lee Godzilla variant. And there's a Ryan Gonzalez variant as well.
Next up is Ultimate Black Panther #8. And I love that the solicitations, like they've been listening to me, they say, enough planning, the time for action is now, where Black Panther and Storm take the fight to Ra and Khonshu. And while they're doing that, Killmonger and Okoye seek allies outside of Wanda to aid their cause. And they mentioned that a little bit in #7. They said, go find somebody who is well-versed in magic and, what was the other? Not science, but...
yeah, it's science and mysticism.
Yeah, and this says, don't miss the big gun they call in. Ultimate who? And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the ultimate version of Doctor Strange. That is not confirmed, so don't take my word on it too much. But we got actually some information today about some characters coming to the Ultimate Universe. Well, yeah, we're getting a new Ultimate Black Cat, and Ultimate Hulk is going to pop up in the pages of the Ultimates. And in that same article, it did talk about a Black Panther seeking out help from the Strange Doctor, and that was capital S, capital D.
You just swap
right,
words
exactly.
around.
So I'm thinking that we're going to get some version of Doctor Strange at some point, and it might be here. So we'll have to wait and see. So we have this is our A cover. We have a Russell Dodderman variant, and there is a Wes Craig connecting variant.
Very cool. Next up, we got Venomverse Reborn #4. This is the final issue of this miniseries. And in this one, It sounds really cool because Nighthawk teams up with Venom. I think when they say teams up, it looks like they fuse together and
Right.
create a very Batman-esque Venom. But the other story in this is really cool. It's kind of a what if? What if Wakanda wasn't forged with vibranium but with symbiote?
Oh.
So that's a great sales pitch for a story.
Isn't that Clintar? Isn't that the planet that Null is in the middle of? Yeah.
I think the A cover too has maybe like Shuri or Okoye. You can't tell because they're in a symbiote suit, but they've got like a spear and stuff. Very, very cool.
Next up is Next up is Batman number 152. This
you didn't recognize the character. This is actually Batman.
Oh, that's Batman.
Yeah, I'll tell you
that's
about
what
it
looks
later.
like. Is that a new suit? Yeah, I don't know. So this is an absolute power tie-in, and Batman and Catwoman are still on their mission to steal the. I still don't want to spoil it, even though you probably know by now. But they're trying to steal a very powerful and important item from Amanda Waller. But they are going to have to go through the Suicide Squad to be able to do it, and they're in a weird place.
Yeah,
that we saw in Batman 151. I'll leave it at that. But we have this. This is our Dave Johnson cover.
Is that a Halloween variant? It feels like
it does feel very
orange, green, all that.
Yeah, it doesn't say. It just there's a Nicholas Scott artist spotlight variant. There's a bunch of these coming up soon.
Yeah.
With a whole bunch of different characters. There's a Jose Luis Garcia Lopez and Joe Prado Hispanic Heritage Month variant with Bane. There's a Nicholas Scott 85th anniversary variant, which
I love this.
That one's fantastic with Adam West Batman in the pose. And there's a Joe Quinones Beetlejuice variant, which
there's your Michael Keaton meets Michael Keaton.
Yeah, there's your and what was it, Multiplicity?
Yeah.
Was that the one with there was a bunch of him in it, the movie?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's
but awesome. I feel like they should do even a one shot of Batman 89
meets Beetlejuice.
Batman would hate Beetlejuice.
For sure.
He'd punch him right away.
Yeah. It would be very much like how Deadpool and Wolverine are together.
Yeah.
Deadpool loves to pick at Wolverine, and Wolverine can't stand it. It would be the same kind of thing.
So next up, I've got Birds of Prey number 13. I think this is the final part of this storyline, but I want to show you some really cool covers for this. So this is the Nicholas Scott artist spotlight variant, much like the Batman one, this time with all the different versions of Black Canary, all the different outfits she's worn. And we have a Jose Luis Garcia Lopez and Joe Prado Hispanic Heritage Month with, I don't remember if this is Wildcat 2 or Wildcat 3. One of the Wildcats is regular Wildcat. One of them's his son, who is actually part cat person.
That's probably not his son.
No, and this is the other. But I can't remember if she came.
Oh, right.
The son or not, but very cool in there with Wildcat.
And next is My Adventures with Superman number 4. In this one, Lois and Jimmy and the Kents have hidden Amazo away from Task Force X and Team 7, but they're going to soon realize that it's not just Amazo that is in harm's way from those groups, but also the entire city. And we have this really cool...
That all sounds like a tie-in with Absolute Power.
Does it?
With Task Force 7?
Oh, yeah.
All that?
Different Task Force 7, I guess, yeah. It would be multiverse hopping. It's like we're Amazos. We're here to. So this is the Ricardo Lopez Ortiz cardstock variant. But it's an homage to
it's a Dragon Ball Z. It's maybe the final volume of Dragon Ball Z or whatever, where Goku's flying away waving. It's really cool. I would love to see a Superman book with this style.
Yeah.
And next up, we've got Poison Ivy, number 25. This is an oversized issue, and this tells stories of the past, present, and future of Ivy, plus what's to come in year 3 of the Poison Ivy series. So, going to be really fun, and we got this great Brian Boland cover.
Still so awesome. This was gonna be a 6-issue miniseries, and now they're on 25, talking about year 3.
Yeah, I awesome. Love the support fans gave and the faith DC had to keep some of these books going. Next is
Scarlett number 4. This is the next to last issue of this miniseries. And this sounds cool because this has the true purpose of Jinx's mission. You know, Scarlett went to infiltrate the Arashikage clan to figure out what Jinx is doing. Well, we're going to learn what she was doing, what Jinx was doing. And it says it's an enormous game changer for the entire Energon universe. So
I feel like it has something to do with this weapon that we still haven't seen.
Yeah.
That it feels like such a MacGuffin. Like, what is this thing that they're going to pull it out and we're like, oh my gosh, it's the matrix of leadership.
Oh my gosh!
Whatever.
Oh, dude, that would be really cool. You just blew my mind with that. So this is our 8 cover, and then we have Yasmin Putri variant.
Next up, we got graphic novels and more. There's some really good ones this time. Starting off with one that I love. It is, if you know me well enough, you know one of my favorite characters of all time, DC or otherwise. Other than Aquaman, I love Stephanie Brown. And my favorite Stephanie Brown is when she was Batgirl. So this series is so good by Brian Q. Miller. And what I love so much about this series, I could go on and on, but is it was like it's a young Batgirl where she's really relatable and she is trying to balance school with crime fighting, and it's basically like Batgirl on campus. So there's like crimes going on at Gotham University, and she is there to solve them. So it's a really cool young Bat person like we haven't seen before. So if you've never read this, check this out. It is so much fun. This issue collects 1 through 12 of the series. Also, the covers, some of the earliest Art Germ work is the covers of this Batgirl series.
Well, I didn't realize Lee Garbett.
Yeah, Lee Garbett on there. It's just fantastic. So much fun. So this is the volume 1 of that, and it is $29.99.
Well, this is the Crave trade paperback. This collects the entire 6-issue Crave series. This is going to be $16.99. Just about an app that is like a dating app, but there's something a lot more sinister behind it. I actually didn't finish it, so I don't.
Gives you, and the app gives you instructions, step-by-step guides how to get what you crave.
Right.
And how do people use that, and what are the ramifications of using that?
Yeah, and don't let kids look at this. There's some very spicy stuff in this
And this is the regular cover. There is a direct market cover for it as well. We don't have it here because it is, like you said, spicy.
It is quite spicy, yep.
Next up, we have Star Wars Prequel Trilogy graphic novel. So this is cool. This is by Alessandro Ferrari. And these were originally released in 3 graphic novels that retold the story, episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3, but those are all going to be combined into this one for only $19.99, which is great. So this is geared towards a little bit of a younger reader, but not like little kids. It's just kind of an all ages version of this. So it's a more animated style, but you get all of that for $20.
Well, this is the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes Omnibus. This is going to be $125 and collects everything. So there's an oversized hardcover that was out. I've got on my shelf at home, and it's a pretty decent size, but this has way more in it.
This feels like this is the ultimate map book.
Right.
Like they have Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Omnibus of one of their most famous runs of all time.
Bronze Age, Neil Adams, not on all artwork, but everybody knows, everybody knows Neil Adams worked on this. So, yeah, this is going to be awesome. Like I said, $125 comes out in November.
Very cool. Next up, we have Superman House of Brainiac hardcover. This collects Action Comics 1064 through 1066 and Superman 13 through 15 and the House of Brainiac one-shot. So the really good story. I loved this House of Brainiac story that led up to what is going on now with Absolute Power and all of that. So if you missed out on that or you want to revisit it, check this one out. And this is going to be $24.99. It's pretty good for a hardcover.
Next is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, trade paperback collecting the entire, was it 6 issues or 5? I don't remember. But it's the entire thing. I love this series. These cutesy animals. Oh, they're living in this small town. Everybody's happy, and it's like these anthropomorphic animals. And also, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of blood and murder and who done it. And this is an absolutely fantastic read. I highly recommend this, and you can get the whole thing together. This, it's going to read really great in trade, but it was really fun to read it month to month because it's like, it's a mystery. It's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to see next.
Exactly.
There's a few page turns that are like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe.
Yeah.
But with all these cute little fuzzy creatures.
That's right. So I highly, highly recommend this one. And as I mentioned, $17.99.
I've already pre-ordered it.
Nice.
Next up, we have G.I. Joe Real American Hero Trade Paperback Volume 1. This is the Volume 1 of the relaunch, the image version of
The Skybound.
The Skybound, because this collects issues 301 through 305 of that. So we'll be getting, and we'll talk about it in the future when it goes on there, the compendiums they're doing of G.I. Joe Real American Hero. But if you want to get the more recent stuff, this is where you jump onto that. So this is really cool. So, of course, by Larry Hama. We've got our A cover right here for it. And there is a B cover. This is the direct market, and it says it will only be printed once.
Oh.
So get it while it's hot.
Yeah.
And this is going to be $14.99.
And this is the Principles of Necromancy trade paperback, collecting that whole series. This is going to be $19.99. And I didn't finish this one out either, but the issues I read were really cool. This Dr. I just lost his name.
Eyes?
Dr. Eyes, yeah, Jacob Eyes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
He is obsessed with conquering death. He wants to find essentially a cure for death, and he goes around to all these different places to try to learn how to do that. And it's really creepy, and
the art is great.
Yeah,
and it's very disturbing.
It's disturbing.
Body horror.
Body horror. Like, I don't know that I'd say like it's a big time horror book, but it's really creepy and just disturbing and sort of makes you on edge. It's really good.
And next up, we have Blood Hunt, the trade paperback. This was a quick turnaround for this one. This collects issues 1 through 5 of the regular edition. I bet we're going to be getting a deluxe hardcover of the Red Band or something like that in the future.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know for sure, but you know they're going to release that in the future somehow. And this is collecting the miniseries, or the event that just ended for $19.99.
This is the Detective Comics number 400 Facsimile edition, Challenge of the Man-Bat. And I think there's a blank and a foil?
Yep, blank and a foil. And this is not the first appearance of Man-Bat. It's just a classic Man-Bat.
Yeah.
And there is also a second printing of X-Force number 1. No surprise here. All of the X stuff that's been coming out from the Ashes have been great. And if you missed out on it, grab this one. It is really good. And I'm really interested to see where this series goes.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting start to this. And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to head over to infinityflux.net, where you can place your pre-orders of everything you just saw us talk about and much more, because we don't talk about every single thing, and there is a lot up there. So maybe there's something that we didn't talk about that appeals to you and you'll want to pre-order.
And I know that's hard to believe, because everything we talked about, and that's still not everything.
Yeah,
we had to cut some things out, so yeah.
So everything you pre-order, you get 10% off of, and our eternal gratitude as well. Check out our show we just launched a couple of days ago, which is our letters page show, where we are live. We answer questions as they come in. We've got a topic to talk about. It's a little looser of a format, and we're going to be doing that every 2 weeks. So don't miss out on that. Go check out the video that is already posted from that. And stay tuned for our video coming up on Monday. We'll be going over all the big books coming out next week. And like we said earlier, it is a huge week, so you don't want to miss that one.
We have our list of everything, and there are 27 books that we'll be talking about. So normally we try to get around 20 or so. There's so much stuff coming out next week. It's going to be a big one.
We couldn't cut it back.
Yeah.
It's all so good. So stay tuned for that as well. And in the comments, let us know what book that we talked about on this show are you most excited for, that you are running. You're running your little fingies over to pre-order, and you can't wait for it to come out. So, with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.